Hello, fellow Lightseekers. Kamikaze here with part 6 of Kindred decks. Took a while, but I gotta get back on the track. Kindred just came out to the app, so I've been grinding it out. Uh, Insectoid Infestation is the deck for nature. Hive King Ixa, that's the hero. And again, on the website, they have the lore. They talk about one of the key cards, Egg Chamber, and then they have the deck list on the bottoms if you want to make your own starter deck. But of course, as usual, I made excuse me, a little cheat sheet for the deck. So without further ado, let's just burn right through it, huh? Hive King Ixa, start of your turn, look, if you took 6 or more damage from a single hit, you can move one of your insect cards from your hand into play. Really good. Look at a little cheat sheet right here. 9 insects. Really, really strong. Most of the time you'll have an insect in your hand, so it's really good. Getting a free action in Lightseekers is super powerful, so right now it's kind of an aggro meta. I see like a lot of people complaining about Zuna being really strong, and they did print a lot of like 6 damage cards in Kindred, and of course there's stuff like increased damage, so cards that usually deal 3 or 4 damage now could deal like 7 or 8, so it's really good. And I like this too because this isn't once per game, this is at the start of your turn. So if you can, not really abuse it, but if you do have like a really rough aggro match, you can just flood the board with insects. To combos, 2-cost combo, Double Soul, Spiritual Turmoil. Really basic card. Good for new players because they have to understand they have to remove a buff or else the person will keep bouncing this back into the hand after it expires. Territory Dominance, Double Beast Tree. 9 damage increased by 5 of your opponent if you have more buffs than your opponent. Most of the time, if you're playing against a matchup like that, you're going to be taking damage, dropping insects at the start of your turn for free. So, most of the time you might, have a fair assumption that you're going to be dealing 14 damage with this rather than just a 9. Treetop Terrabino, my favorite nature combo. Double Tree Animal. Can't be removed by heroes. So literally when this is on the board, they gotta go to court. The only way they could delay it is by playing defend cards, but sooner or later, most decks don't really have a 30 defend deck, so they have to eat the 16 sooner or later. Vine Lash is a mini bomb. Only the reason why I say mini is because it only takes 1 turn. 14 damage, nothing to scoff at. It's one of each element. And then the 4 cost is Beast Within. Kind of gives you spike armor, so every time it rotates, you deal damage to your opponent, and then when you get attacked, you deal 6 damage in return. Really, really strong. It works well with this deck because, again, you're running 11 animals, so you're going to have, I would say, a somewhat easy time playing this card. And again, it does 11 damage when it fully rotates, so it's really, really strong. If your opponent doesn't have like block damage, like block armor, it's going to be really annoying. So, like my other videos, I'm not going to go to the animals or the insects yet. I'm going to go right into the other cards of the deck. The kind of like mini like archetype thing that you have in this deck is beasts. So Vicious Scale Fang, run a 2 of. It's kind of like a Corbid Conspiracy, sort of. It's okay. 6 damage for over 3 turns is pretty mediocre. It just sucks too that like corner 2 has nothing. It literally does nothing, so it's whatever. Hungry Behemoth. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Hungry Behemoth rotates only when you defend. It's really cool that they gave us an Awakening rare, and I really like Hungry Behemoth's art. Just really sick. This card's really nice because again, it only rotates when you use it to heal yourself. So if you want, rotate it about like corner 3, maybe corner 4, and then just keep dishing out the attack ability to keep dealing damage. Really, really nice. Spinebark Forager is Mythic card. Not Mythic, Kindred, sorry. 2 damage to all heroes, so if you're playing multiplayer, everyone takes damage. And then you choose a family and play. Most likely you're going to be choosing Insectoid, and then you move an Insectoid from your discard pile to your hand. Really, really nice to cycle just through your insects, especially with your Ix's passive, so you can just keep on getting that one insect card that you really want. And then Ashwood Nurturer is 2 healing, and then move a beast from your deck into your hand. So, doesn't really work that well with this deck because this deck is more insect, but it does work a little bit synergistic with Spinebark. So, 2 healing, you get Spinebark from your deck to your hand, and then you can play Spinebark because you have superiority in animal, so You could play that, and then you could just pick up an insect from your graveyard to your hand. And then if your opponent decides to go on the aggressive, hit you for more than six or more, then you could play that insect that you just picked up from Spinebark at the beginning of your turn. Really nice. Bloomback Draga. I know it says unique, but I actually think this is one of the most like unique cards that Force got printed in Kindred. Defendability, restart all your action buffs. So you have 2 times to restart all your action buffs. You get real wacky with stuff. Just like a quick example, you can have stuff like, let's see if I can get to it, like Mantic's Hatchling later on. Every time you take damage, it will rotate. So right before it's about to rotate to its final corner, you do Bloomback, and then you literally just reset it. So now you just have 2 damage each turn again and again and again. It's really, really annoying. The classic, just Awakening, Monster Edge, Stump Drift. So reduce damage and healing. Invigorating Skin Cap is Stink Cap. Not Skin. Oh, imagine if it was a Skin Cap. Yikes. Heal equal to the number of cards your opponent has in their hand. It's a mini clock kind of thing. It sort of probably forces your opponent to play cards that they don't want to, or like just thin out their hands so that you don't get like a 7-8 heal and you only get like maybe a 3 or 4 heal. It's alright. I feel this is like deck fodder, like they needed to put something to fill in the deck. Reckless Spirit, of course, 3 of, you always need 3 of buffer removals in these starter decks. Spirit Mob, 3 damage increased by 3 if you have more buffs than your opponent. Most of the time, like Territorial Dominance, you're going to have more buffs because like you're just dumping your insects on the board. So 6 damage is really, really nice. And then Fungal Medium, anytime it rotates, you have a choice to use one of your actions to either deal damage to them or heal you for the rotation amount. I think it's okay. Onto the beasts. And when I say beast, I mean insects. Mantic's Tunneler. Really like this because it has the clunky corners at the end, so you can choose when you want this to proc. Of course, it works well with Bloomback. You know, say you want to rotate this turn for 5, deal 5 on them. And then you have Bloomback on the field. Next turn, you can use that ability to rotate all your buffs back. So it's really, really nice. Really, really annoying. And 5 damage. 5-6 damage, so 11 damage out of this card is really, really good. Mantic's Hatchling, 2 on each corner, and it only rotates when you take a damage. Really nice. It's just super annoying that when this is on the board, your opponent has to hit you to remove this. Like, they can't be passive and just let this stay on the board because 2 damage each turn, like around 3 or 4 turns, that's a lot of damage. So they have to just get this out of the board real quick. Insect Swarm, deal 1 damage at the start of your turn. Very basic. This is Awakening card. It works well with the whole insect theme. You know, maybe when you get more and more into deck building, you probably want to run 2 or maybe 3 of these if you want to go the insect way. Just works really well. 1 damage each turn. If your opponent doesn't have armor, it's not the best, but it does start adding up again, like Mantic's Hatchling. Feasting Skeetos, 4 damage. If your recipient has 3 or more cards in their hand, heal for 3. It's a card. That's about it. It's a card that they printed. Canopy Creeper is tree. 2 healing. If your last discarded card is a beast, move it into play. Card is really good with stuff like Bloomback Draga. If Bloomback Draga, you know, action 1, you use your defendability to restart all your buffs, and then this goes to the discard pile. Action 2, can't use Canopy Creeper because you're not superior in tree. So you gotta wait next turn. And then Canopy Creeper, bring that back into play. Really, really annoying. Or you could do stuff like bring back Vicious Scalefang. Again, this card doesn't really work in this deck because you have so little beast buffs. But outside of this, it's really, really strong. You can bring a lot of like crazy buffs. Not just inside the nature order either. Like there's a lot of beast buffs that you probably want to run if you're doing cross order with forest in another order. So it's really, really good. And then the only other insect in soul is Spectral Mantics. Deal damage to your opponent, and then restart this buff when you get healed. There's some healing in the deck, of course, like Canopy Creeper. Of course, like the classic Spectral Mantics and Stump Drift. Have Mantics on the left side and then Stump Riff on the right. Mantics rotates, deals 2. Stump Riff, you play, it heals you, resets Mantics. Next turn, Mantics rotates, deals damage. Stump Riff rotates, heals you, Mantics resets. So you could just do that kind of thing. And then Egg Chamber is the key card that they showed off. Damage to your target. So first 3 corners are nothing, and then last corner is 2 damage to your target, and then you move up to 2 insects from your deck to your hand. So again, you're running 9 insects, so this is literally just a tutor. Very, very slow tutor at that, but it is a tutor for your insects. If anything, it's buff removal. If your opponent really is scared of you getting insects, maybe like they're super scared of you getting, another Mantic's Hatchling to just keep pestering with the 2 damage, or Mantic Sunler, they'll get it out of the way. And then let's go to the underline before I give my final thoughts about the deck. Crushing Charger, talked about this in the other starter decks. And then Umbron Barkeep, my man is literally everywhere. He's always just dishing out the 2 cards for you, giving you a little bit of healing. So overall, I think this deck is just not that good. I think they should have went more with the insects and less with the beast. Egg Chamber is a really, really good card. I know it's only uncommon, but if you want to push a more insect heavy deck, there's a lot of insects in Kindred. Let's go to the database again. I know this is just the intro deck video, but we could just go right into the database and we could talk a little bit or show off a little bit about the insects. Because I do want to do, so just for nature alone, these are all the insects. Royal Bumbler would be good. Of course, it's a rare. Sipid Queen is okay. Resourceful Scypid is okay. There's very, insects by themselves, in nature, are kind of not there yet in Mythic. So I like that they made the starter deck because that's, in my eyes, I think they're just introducing insect deck for you because maybe in the next expansion, insects are going to be more heavily represented. But I think right now, this is a really weak deck. You're not really getting the bang for your buck with insects like you are with the Beast from the Storm deck or the tech cards, like the machines and robots in there. This one you're kind of hoping to just blow out your opponent with your big combos. If you could blow out your opponent with the Tree Chop Tribunal or Vine Lash, I think that's the way to go. All the other ones are kind of there's no, I don't think you're going to kill your opponent with Insect Swarm and Mantic's Hatchling just dealing 3 damage a turn. So, but, this concludes, part 6 of Intro Decks for Kindred. I might do videos on playing these starter decks on Lightseekers app, and then maybe a before and after, so literally the starter deck, and then show off how I'm changing the starter deck, and then making a revamped version that focuses more on what that archetype is. So for example, if I do one on the Forest deck, I would try to make it more insect heavy. So, insect is the whole entire gimmick. Let's see how far I could push the insect stuff. But as of right now, I'm not sure yet. I know the season's restarting for Lightseekers, so maybe when the season restarts, I'll play some fun janky decks and record them and put them on. But besides that, hopefully you guys did enjoy these Lightseekers overview for the starter decks. If you want, stick with this channel because I'm going to do more Lightseeker stuff. Hopefully, when there is a 3rd starter deck that they come out with, I will definitely give an overview and give some insight on it. But again, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you another time.